guys, if you're new here, my name is Sam and I make videos about makeup, chronic illness, and whatever I want. And today we're going to talk about my no buy 2026. So this is an indefinite no buy that I started last year, but I just thought I would talk about how I felt regarding my accomplishments in 2025 and what I'm going to change moving forward. I feel like I did quite good with my spending in 2025, but we can do so much better. This is something that takes time, and the only way to be successful is to do a little bit at a time. Some people's little bit may be a little bit bigger than other people's. It really depends on where you're starting, but going cold turkey and really harsh is just a surefire way to fail any kind of life change. So we're going to talk a little bit about what helped me, what I am feeling like I did well with last year, and things that I want to implement and improve in 2026. My goal in 2026 is just less of everything. I didn't use much makeup in 2025 due to my constant debilitating migraines, my hip impingement, now my SI joint is messed up. My body is kind of just falling apart, and so there is absolutely no reason to bring in new makeup when my health is not in a good place. It did give me a new perspective on just spending in general, not just beauty spending, but if you are laid up on the couch in bed or half conscious all of the time, what's the point of buying stuff because you're not actually getting to enjoy it? On top of all this, let's talk about the cost of living. For me, myself, I'm chronically ill, and with the migraine Botox, I now have very expensive bills 4 times a year. That means that money has to come from somewhere because my income is not significantly increasing. So if there's more bills, that means you gotta cut out some fun stuff. And that is something for those of you who aren't even chronically ill. Unexpected bills, whether it's home repairs, car repairs, maybe in a medical bill like comes up, it's temporary, but still, if you are spending to or beyond your means, those are things that are really going to add stress to your life if they pop up. Look at it rather than necessarily restrictions. Think about, I get to have the money to spend on a necessity, rather than looking at it from, I don't get to buy this thing I want. Now you have the money for a thing you need in the future, and your future self will thank you. You don't need to be struggling financially to look at this either. Being financially responsible is something everyone of any income bracket should be doing. I think we all get comfortable in our day-to-day and forget that things can change at any moment. I had no idea that my migraine attacks were just going to overnight become as severe as they were, and now I have to have treatment for that. So it isn't living in fear or being paranoid, it's just being prepared and not spending every dollar you have or spending on things you truly don't need. Like, I have more eyeshadow than any person could ever use. So what really is the point of me buying more of that until I run out of something and maybe I want to specifically replace that? It isn't even necessarily restriction, it's just kind of logic. Like, it's not that I am forbidding myself from buying eyeshadow when I don't have any. I just have so much. So kind of put yourself in that perspective of, I'm not saying I can't have a thing. I already have the thing. I need to look at new ways to find enjoyment. And that is something that I would like to add to my channel this year, of just like inspiring people to use stuff that they already have. I'm sure we've all noticed that companies like Glamlite or ColourPop have quite literally hit the brakes on their releases when they were coming out almost bi-weekly, it seemed. And it's because their cost of materials has skyrocketed so much and people's buying is starting to slow down. But I think the unfortunate thing here is people's buying isn't slowing down because they're becoming more conscious. It seems like it's buying down because they're hitting a block with either credit or something came up. And I really don't want to see people get into that position to where they can't afford something they need because they bought too much of what they want. And for me, even though I am an itty bitty tiny creator, I feel like I have at least some responsibility to be a good influence. Like, call me an influencer, I guess, because I'm influencing people, even one person, to do something. And I feel like it is my responsibility to, one, practice what I preach, but two, be a symbol of what we can do, doing our best. Nothing's going to be perfect. I'm not going to be perfect. I am obviously going to give in and at some point buy something I don't need. The goal is to just do a lot less of that. And I think I owe that to the people who are on my channel, to remind them that I'm not telling people to buy this stuff. And I was guilty in the past of, you know, making videos of like, here's what you should get during the sale. And I fell into that trap. So I like making these videos, and I like making the like talk you out of new stuff, because we've all been in that position where a new thing just makes us feel good. And I think it's time to focus on other things that make us feel good instead of spending money. All of this comes from a place of kindness and understanding, but it's also a touch of like tough love. It's a reminder that overconsumption is not normal. You don't deserve anything aside from food, shelter, and health. A little treat doesn't need to be a new purchase. It can be a hot shower and your comfort show and a snack, a candle, turning your phone off. Comfort and putting ourselves in a good mood shouldn't just be from new purchases. And I am also someone who has done this. I am not coming from a place of I'm better than anyone, because I am just as guilty of this as anyone else, the treat yourself mindset. But I think the treat yourself mindset is here to bite us all in the ass, and it is better to start working on it before it becomes a real problem. I will say something I've noticed since I've started this entire journey is the peace that comes with using what you have, enjoying what you have, and not looking for the next new product. Most of us are incredibly blessed with what we have, but we tend to never be satisfied. And it's kind of sad when you start to think about it. Like, I have all these eyeshadow palettes. I'm so blessed to have collected these over the years and have such great quality items. Yet, for the longest time, it wasn't satisfying. Like, the satisfying part was like having the new shiny thing. There are 100 different reasons why we shop, from boredom to loneliness to stress relief. But it's really important to take some time and reflect on like why you want to buy things. So let's say like this lip gloss. You want to buy this lip gloss. Really ask yourself why. Do I want this because it's filling a hole in my collection that needs to be filled? Is this something that I'm going to use frequently? Am I doing this because I'm bored? Am I doing this as a distraction? These are all questions to ask yourself before you just go out on a shopping spree, either in person or online. All right, let's get into my shifted no-buy rules for 2026. As usual, this is not a total ban because that will never work. It will backfire and it's just unrealistic. I like to tighten things up a little every year because I like a challenge. I know I'm not a failure as a person if I don't stick to this 100%, but it is important to challenge myself to look at things a little differently and just improve on my own bad habits. Let's look at the exceptions. I don't really try new skincare or hair care anymore. I know what works for me, so I'm not going to mess with a good thing. We'll just replace what we have when we run out. Now, here's a problem. This isn't going to be a problem anytime soon because I have a few backups, but if you aren't aware, there was a silicone ban, I think it is, in Europe. So every foundation that wants to sell in Europe has to remove this. Most foundations haven't. So almost all of them are reformulating. That means I'm going to have to try and look for some new stuff because it's not formulas that are necessarily going to work for me. My beloved Double Wear, my Estee Lauder, has been destroyed. I don't even plan to try a sample of the new one after the reviews I've seen. It's just real bad. Was using About Face, but they have changed the color. As you can see, this used to be a perfect match. It is now incredibly orange. It's still very olive. So if you are very warm and like a medium tone, this would work great for you. But this used to be a perfect match for me. Even in the winter, it worked. This wouldn't even work for me in the summer anymore. So this is another one that unfortunately is a no-go. So as I start to run out of foundation, I am going to have to try some things, and that might be a little less than like a replacement, because I would probably buy quite a few brands are doing sample or like travel sizes now, so I may end up having to buy a couple to test out. So that is on here, but like I said, that probably wouldn't be until closer to the end of the year because of my backups, but it's on here just in case it does come up in 2026 and not early 2027. Brow products, mascara, primers. Those are things that I go through 2 or 3 times a year. So those would really be my only replacements that I can think of. I might maybe need a concealer replacement at the end of the year. The bottle I have is so big, but the thing is, you know, just with time, the formula kind of changes, and I've had that one for a while. So maybe at the end of the year, I need a concealer replacement, but really just those 3 things. If I manage to finish a travel perfume, depending on what it is, that may be something I get as like a Christmas gift. Haven't fully decided. Like I said, it would depend on what it is. Holo Taco limited edition or retirement. I'm filming this so late that we've already done the main retirement and there was nothing on my wish list from there, so marked safe. They did mention there might be like a rolling retirement this year where like the second quarter of the year there might be another retirement announcement. Unsure. I will not be taking part in any kind of sale except the royalty sale in April. I am going to need replacement top coat and nail oil refill, so I will get those during the sale, but not nail polish unless I like the shades that are for the royalty collection. Mooncat limited edition or retirement. They did their retirement too. None of it was on my wish list. Their limited edition only seems to be IPs, and I don't think they do more than 1 or 2 of those a year. And I don't always like the IP, or I don't always like the colors they do for the IP, so like that's not a big worry. I also will not be taking part in either of their sales unless at that time I need base coat, if it happens to like fall around that moment. Generally, there's a few limited edition OPIs that come out around Christmas that catch my eye, so that could be an exception depending on how unique it is to my collection. The only reason nail polish gets any sort of a pass is that is a hobby that never really gets put on the back burner because I can do my nails in bed. I can immediately take a nap afterwards. When I do this, I have to be sitting upright, and it takes a lot more effort than to just throw a couple coats of nail polish on, you know. As usual, I'm adding SpongeBob IP as an exception. I don't often feel tempted by new makeup. Every time I see new makeup, I'm just kind of like, I have that already. Like, there are a couple new products I've seen come out that seem pretty unique. Like, Benefit has been putting out some cool stuff. But again, I don't need it. It's not super interesting to me. I'm past that time in my life where I want to try new formulas. If I ran out of something and the new formula seemed to be great and it was the exact same thing but a different type, sure, maybe. But I'm just not impressed with things that are coming out. This year or last year, I only took part in Black Friday sales for replacement items, hair care, and like some stuff from Amazon, I think. I didn't do beauty stuff except a replacement base coat. Was that Black Friday? I've lost track. I plan to roll that over into this year. I will shop a Black Friday sale if I run out of something at the time the sale happens. I'm not going to do this stock up thing just to save like 15%. So if I'm out of a hair oil or like I have a couple uses left and that's right at Black Friday, then yeah, I'll buy a new one. But I'm not going to wait for a sale to replace an item, and I'm not going to buy backup because it's on sale, and you should not do that either. As for some other costs that haven't been part of my low buy, but I'm going to bring them up just for the sake of this video, I started dyeing my hair a year ago in December, and I'm no longer going to be doing that because of my health care costs. It just doesn't fit into my budget anymore. It's irresponsible to spend that much on my hair when I need a medical treatment. I will continue to get my hair cut in the salon, but I'm going to go down to twice a year instead of 3 times a year. Just, again, it's more responsible for where my budget's at. My hair does great. Like, it's going to be at the end of this month, like 6 months since my last haircut. I've been trimming my own bangs. They're not as good as when she does it, but we get through. Yeah, I'm just doing a gloss treatment at home every couple of months to keep that shine that I would get from the salon, but it was an easy thing to cut out. While I love it, my hair looks so good all the time. I love the color. I love not having debilitating migraines 5 days a week, even more than I love whatever happens to my hair. So that was a no-brainer. So let's go over a couple tips. Gosh, I feel like there's something in my eye. Let's go over a couple tips that have helped me get where I'm at with this no low buy situation. Every time you think you want something, walk away. Sit on it. Think about why you actually want it. Think about how often you'll use it. Think about where you're going to put it. Think about if it's filling a hole in your collection. Think about what else that money could go towards. Like I said, think of some kind of emergency expense. Would you be upset that you bought this instead of keeping that money in your savings account? Those are all questions to ask yourself. Last year, I started keeping a note in my phone. It was just a miscellaneous note. And every time I wanted to buy something or was interested in something, I put it in the note and moved on. There was nothing that was left on the note except a future new filming camera that at the end of the year, there was nothing. Everything I went back and looked at and was like, no, I don't really want to spend that. Even something that was $20, I was like, that $20 could go towards something else. Even if it's something else fun, right? It's not saying all of your money has to be planned for future emergencies, but it's like, if you spend $20 here for like, I don't know, a foundation you don't need, that $20 could have gone to like sushi dinner or something, you know, instead of spending $40 combined. And then you have this foundation that you don't really like or you don't even need. So the goal of the list was, if it's still there, if it's still on the list and I still want it at the end of the year when all the sales start, I could pick a couple things that I want the most and bite. There wasn't a single thing at Black Friday that I wanted to spend money on that was on that list. My list is currently empty. Now, there were 2 things on that list that I did bite on at one point during the year. One was a lip liner, MAC Stone. I've already used it like a dozen times since I purchased it. This was when they were having like 30% off or something. And this had been on my wish list for almost 3 years. So I finally bit that. And the other one was a lipstick that I actually didn't even buy. It was sent to me to review. So that was very nice. Something that I see many people fall into the trap of that I want to address is the free shipping trap. I am also guilty of this because shipping is really expensive. But if you're not already super close to the shipping threshold, forget about it. You'll see the shipping cost is like $10. And you tell yourself, well, I would rather have $10 worth of stuff than spend $10 on shipping. But quite frequently, you're more than $10 away from the free shipping threshold. All of these companies are raising their shipping to kind of high amounts. So if you're buying one thing and it's $40, but the free shipping is $75, just pay the $10 in shipping. I know it feels like you're throwing away $10, but you're really not. And ask yourself this even more is, if I wouldn't buy it and pay the shipping, do I want it that badly? Because if you're just adding stuff to your cart until you hit free shipping, you're just encouraging yourself to shop more. You're encouraging yourself to spend more money that you don't need to spend. So if you don't like something enough to spend that shipping cost, then you don't really want it. So those were just a couple tips. The lesson here is that you just don't need it. Your money serves you better in your possession, in your bank, wherever it is. It's serving a better purpose with you rather than being exchanged for things that you don't need and probably already have. This is a muscle that you have to exercise, and you will slip up. You will meet the free shipping. You will buy something impulsively because it looked good in a TikTok, and that's okay. The whole point is to learn and move forward and make that mistake fewer times in the future, to the point that one day maybe you don't make the mistake at all. But this is something I've been working on for many years now, and I'm still not where I want to be. But I think not being super harsh on myself and having these restrictions and holding myself accountable by tracking things has helped me exercise that muscle quite well. And now I don't feel like there's any kind of pressure, there's no kind of failure, there's no kind of shame here. So that's all I have for you. What are your goals for spending in 2026? Have you started a no buy or a low buy? Are you going to add that in this year, even though it's March? Maybe you've already started. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time.